Game day's here, I can hear the crowd. Turn on the lights, fans are cranked up and loud. Red or blue, we wear it proud. Yeah, we love our teams in this border town. Chiefs and Royals, Boo Mizzou, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, KU. Hear that drum pounding in your feet. Yeah, you're marching to the beat of KC.
What is going on, YouTube? What is going on, Kansas City? What is going on, Jayhawk Nation? And what is going on, everybody? And welcome to the Beat of KC. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lucas Murphy, and I don't know if it was just me watching this game being very critical. I don't know if people out there that watched this KU game really felt the same way as I did. I felt like the Jayhawks, specifically the players, either stayed up too late playing video games, stayed up too late watching YouTube. Hopefully they're watching the Beat of KC. Maybe they stayed up too late in the gym kind of practicing. Whatever it was, this team looked very stale. They looked very stagnant. They didn't look like they had kind of that motivation. They didn't have that internal fire that we've seen really probably in the last few games, more or less probably the last 5 games. This team has truly been building momentum in the Big 12, and we're going to talk a little bit about that towards the end of this video. But I think the way we looked today was just very lazy. And I get that this team in Utah is not a good team. They really didn't provide a whole lot of opportunity to kind of defeat you in a lot of ways. You overmatched them in every category. But again, I had a ton of people in my comment section say this is a true trap game. And at first I denied that. I said, there's no way. Again, the momentum this team has been building, the excitement that they've been kind of generating with the fan base, the student section. I mean, the list goes on and on. Bill Self has started to speak very highly of this team. To come out and really have a showing like this, it is a little concerning with Arizona Wildcats coming in on Monday and probably the biggest game of the season. Now, we've said that multiple times, but ladies and gentlemen, this is truly the biggest game of the season because they're coming into your house and they're giving you an opportunity to have your home crowd amplifying this team to a next level. And it just felt like the Utah Utes really had a chance this entire game until roughly probably 8 minutes to go in the second half. And that's really when Kansas just started to extend the lead and kind of forced it to get out of hand. But we're going to jump in. We're really going to talk about this. Ladies and gentlemen, Flory Bidunga, holy smokes. The Kansas Jayhawks would finally find a way to extend a lead and eventually handle the Utah Utes fairly comfortably, coming out of victorious 71-59. Although the Jayhawks did not look as crisp or as fluid in transitions, that was my biggest thing. This team is well known across the college basketball landscape, specifically with college basketball fan bases, on their defensive prowess, their ability to play lockdown defense. We've truly played extremely high-level defense against some very, very talented offensive programs. Today, we were very slow in our transitions. We weren't communicating very well on defense. There was a ton of open shots down in the paint. There were opportunities for this Utah team to consistently stay in. If they were a better shooting team, if they had more contributors on this team, I feel like the Jayhawks probably would have let this one slip. But due to the fact that Utah truly only has about 2 players that really have a significant contribution, they just kind of stayed slowly behind the Jayhawks until the Jayhawks finally figured out how to flip that switch and they took off. Now, I do want to give credit here in a second, but the Kansas Jayhawks did lead this entire game 84% of the time. So if that really puts it into perspective, the Kansas Jayhawks never really relinquished a lead. It's just you would anticipate when you have these types of records facing up against each other, the Kansas Jayhawks would have been up 20 points at halftime like they were against some of the very good opponents in the Big 12. But that just wasn't the case. And, a lot of people in my comment section, again, mentioned trap game. I was concerned towards, halftime. Like, could this truly happen? They really proved me wrong as the second half kind of continued. But I do want to give props to Keanu Dawes. I mean, he scored 20 points, was 9 of 11 on shooting, had 10 rebounds. He truly is a genuine two-way player in effort inside, and I think I need to give him credit. I really spoke highly of him in the pregame. He is their big. He really played extremely well inside a tough environment in Allen Fieldhouse, but he played extremely well. And I think him most specifically is where Kansas really struggled on the defensive transitions. They couldn't quite figure out how to transition one player to the next to cover him. He would kind of really work that high to low, get down low, and man, he had some open shots a few times, or he would get to the hoop and get fouled because of late transitions. He really had a good showing today. So I really want to give props to Keanu Dawes. Now, when you look at Kansas, ladies and gentlemen, Flory Bidunga, he continues to rise. He continues to step up. Led this team with 17 points on efficient shooting, with 7-8 from 8 from the floor, and he had a team high 10 rebounds. He truly is a inside force on both ends because, ladies and gentlemen, he added 7 block shots on the defensive side. He continues to evolve and is logging game after game where I'm pretty sure he's starting to rise into some NBA probably draft boards because of his success and what he's been doing as of late. We have to remember a lot of what NBA scouts, a lot of what NBA front offices really draft upon is kind of that projected talent. And I think you can see how Flory is a very talented basketball player. I think there's some things he needs to continue to work on, like he lacks a jump shot. For a big like him to really get into the NBA and be impactful, I think he needs to have some form of a jump shot. But he's such an aggressive force down low. He's still, again, learning to play this game. There are a lot of things that you see where he's continuing to evolve. But the fact that he goes out there and has almost a triple-double, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the impressive things because he just continuously is starting to shine. And so Flory Bidunga, again, I would say he was probably the MVP of this game. In a market that never sleeps, one name rises above the rest. Lisa Miller from Dan Lynch Real Estate. Trusted by hundreds and recognized across the Midwest. She delivers results when it matters the most. With over 13 years of experience and licenses in both Kansas and Missouri, Lisa isn't just selling houses. She's helping you find a place to call home. Whether you are a first-time homebuyer looking to upsize or selling your current home, Lisa makes the process smooth and stress-free. As a local expert passionate about building lasting relationships, she ensures her clients feel confident and satisfied every step of the way. Don't wait, your perfect home is just a call away. Contact Lisa today at 913-579-3246 or 913-369-3000 or visit lisamillersaleskc.com. Let Lisa Miller at Lynch Real Estate help you start your next exciting chapter. And let her know the beat of KC, Lucas Murphy, sent you her way. Now, Melvin Council Jr., ladies and gentlemen, he's just a steady dog. He's just that steady, consistent energizer bunny for this team. He constantly is bringing the energy. He contributed 11 points, 5 boards, and 6 assists. That's what you would expect from a guy like him. And, maybe a little bit more in the points category. But ladies and gentlemen, he's getting 5 boards, 6 assists, and he's bringing something, an element that most people can't provide, and that is the hypeness, the energy, the ability to really kind of take it to another level. I think one of the biggest things that I think is most impressive about Melvin Council Jr. is there's always a moment in a game where he makes an impressive play that either changes kind of momentum in Kansas's favor, or he makes a series of plays to extend upon a Jayhawks lead when you really kind of need that momentum and really that to extend that lead. He just has that ability. And I think if Melvin Council Jr. can continue to improve on his three-point shooting, and I'm not asking him to be a complete sniper, but what I'm asking is just to improve a little bit more on that three-point shooting, maybe a little less of the aggressive forced passes that often get tipped and turned over. If he can really start to hone in the skills as we head deep into the Big 12 and into the postseason, Melvin Council Jr., ladies and gentlemen, is going to be continuously a special talent, somebody we talk about on a consistent basis. I truly hope he can get eligibility for another year. It would be nice to have him back. Now, Trey White started off extremely rusty or cold. He could have been one of the guys that was up playing Nintendo 64, or he was playing, PS5, NBA 2K, whatever, way too late, ladies and gentlemen, because his series of mistakes in the beginning of this game were just eye-glaring. For a guy of his age, he's a senior. He was missing bunnies. He was not very effective on the glass. It didn't seem like he was hustling. I mean, Trey just really looked flat. It was very inexcusable. But I think, over time, Bill Self gets onto him. I think he goes to the bench. The coaching staff has great ability to get to guys. And Trey comes out and actually has a decent game. And that's one of the biggest things. He comes out with 16 points and 6 rebounds. In the beginning, I would have been like, man, he'd be lucky to get 6 points. But he finds a way, and I think that's where this team continues to show they have the ability to overcome adversity. It may not be the greatest start, but they're going to figure it out and they're going to find ways, and that's where I think this team is going to be very impactful in the postseason. Now, Bryson Tiller, I'd be lying if I said I did not expect more from Bryson in this game. Tiller had all the opportunity in the world to play out of his mind today, and yet only managed 8 points and 5 rebounds. There are times where you see Bryson, and you're like, yeah, man, he's an NBA-ready, talented player. He's 6'11", he moves like a guard. He just flows. He transitions well. He does the right things on defense. He hasn't been getting into foul trouble. Like, he's really been doing a lot of good things, but he didn't quite have that killer instinct that he's been talking about and that Bill Self's been talking about. Every once in a while, you'll see him kind of flip that switch of killer instinct, like, I'm going to become that guy. And it's just kind of Jekyll and Hyde. Like, you don't get that all the time. And he's talked about that, and that's something that he wants to improve on. I'm really hoping that he continues to really evaluate that within himself, because that's really, I think, for me, what is separating him from becoming an NBA talent, because of his size, his athleticism, his ability to shoot, and to really work down low in the post. But there's games like today where he truly could have had a great showing, and it just didn't fully show up. Now, there are times where you see him hustle, and I think specifically there were 2 or 3 times where he's hustling after loose ball fouls, diving after it. That's that aggression we're talking about. But you could have seen more, I think, on that category as well as in the box score, because, again, today would have been an absolute perfect time for him to be the leading scorer, the leading rebounder. Instead, Flory really takes advantage of that. Now, we're going to jump in and finish this video out with kind of the team aspect. They were efficient from the floor. They did shoot 50%. They did shoot 75% from the stripe. I think that's one of the biggest things, and I always constantly am focusing on, is how do they shoot from the free throw line? And I think those two things really are of success. But I think one of the biggest glaring needs, and really kind of something that just was atrociously abysmal today, was the fact that we shot 3 of 18 for a whopping 17% from the arc. And that is not a mistake, ladies and gentlemen. We shot 3 of 18, 17% from the arc. If you're going to beat an Arizona Wildcat team, there's absolutely no possible way you could have a 3 of 18 and 17% from the arc. They will absolutely defeat you by 20 plus points. You're going to have to really hone that in. Hopefully they got the rust out today and they're able to really kind of focus and get the ball in the hoop from the arc in the next game. And so I really wanted to highlight that. And it didn't go, Utah wasn't just shooting lights out either. I mean, they only shot 28%, and that's really not their game. There really isn't a specialty for Utah. And again, that's why I was so excited to see some of these players step up in a big way. Now, the Jayhawks would out-rebound the Utes 36-32. One of the benefits was we scored 14 points on their 12 turnovers. And so I think, obviously, that helps and really kind of continued to help us maintain that lead throughout this game. Again, we led 84% of the time. So, to finish this video completely, the Jayhawks moved to 18-5 and are 8-2 in the Big 12. Only a game and a half out of first place. Now, if I would have asked you guys that, we'll say November, would you think that the Jayhawks would be a game and a half out of first place, especially with how intense this Big 12 conference truly is? Now, with that being said, I truly believe the biggest game to this point occurs on Monday. The reason is it's such a massive game because, well, Arizona's undefeated. They're number 1 in the Big 12 conference, and they enter your stadium. They enter into your building, Allen Fieldhouse, the mecca of college basketball, the greatest venue in all of college basketball. It's been said numerous times. We saw it on College Game Day when BYU showed up. So many people acknowledge how impactful playing in Allen Fieldhouse is for the Kansas Jayhawks. This is huge, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be on big-time TV. This is your opportunity to dethrone the #1 team in the conference right now in your house. Really send the message, because you're going to have to go to their house. You're still going to have to play Houston. You're still going to have to play a stretch of games where you could slip up. This is one that you should not slip up, especially with it being an Allen Fieldhouse. You're going to have a student section that's probably going to be camping out. They're going to be prepared for this come Monday. It is going to be next level. I could imagine they're probably lining up right now. So it's just going to be that type of game, ladies and gentlemen. The crowd is going to be amplified. That building is going to be shaking, and we need to send a message to the Big 12 and really to college basketball that we are the blue blood that we are. We're the Kansas Jayhawks, and we're ready to continuously make statements. I appreciate you checking out this video. Hopefully you continue the support. Again, I apologize for my voice kind of being crackly. I am getting over a sickness, and I continuously coughed through this video. I apologize for that. I had to cut some of that out, but I appreciate all the support. You guys have been extremely supportive. I can't thank y'all enough. Make sure you guys smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, comment down below, and I end every video the exact same way. Have a good day.